Hey guys, what's going on? ZeroArmada here with a little Blacklight Retribution gameplay and commentary, playing the map Pile Driver TDM. Going with an assault rifle build with the ArmCom 2-step, the Briar CQC-3 Zenith barrel, extended magazine, Lightsky ELO-Tech R6 scope, V2 Folding CQC/B stock. And then for our armor build, we got the Fox+Cat helmet, we got the Guardian Warmonger L1 armor, and we got the Guardian Colossus RC6 legs. As always, that build information will be located in the description box down below, so definitely go ahead and take a look at that if you need be. So for this commentary video, recently the Blacklight Community League competitive rule set just got a complete overhaul and it was just recently released. So I'm going to link that down below in the description box as well, and I'm basically just going to go through, analyze the changes and basically how this new rule set format works out. And just give you my thoughts about the whole thing. I had a little bit of input on it. There was like a meeting, a BCL meeting, where some of the community members got together and kind of hashed out some details and kind of went back and forth about some of the feedback on current, or I guess you can say prospective rule sets that were kind of thrown out there. So I'm just gonna start off from top to bottom. Pretty much. Format's still the same, 5v5 domination. Victor is the first to win 2 maps. Every map is played in 2 rounds, each 5 minutes in duration, such that both teams are awarded equal opportunities at better spawn protections. Victory is determined by the cumulative score of both rounds as calculated by the server. Essentially, basically that means that it's the same format, 5v5 domination. Really the only main change to the format is that now instead of 10 round matches, you have 2 5-round matches. To both sides, so each team plays both sides. They're just split up into 5-minute rounds, and that's basically to kind of, like the rule set said, to alleviate some of the issues with some of the spawns being a little bit unbalanced. So in terms of our typical maps, we have Heavy Metal, Vertigo, and Deadlock, but now we also have 3 additional maps. We have Seaport, Containment, and Trench. And I don't know whose idea it was to add those maps. I like playing on Seaport. I think we've done some domination maps on Seaport before. I think it works out fine. Not a fan of Containment as a domination point. Not a fan of Trench as a domination point based map. And I guess you can say Seaport, I mean, even though it's an okay map for domination, the problem with those 3 maps is when you have a 5-minute round match and you have really big maps like those 3, there's really not much you can do once you get 2 dom points in terms of the other team trying to fight back, because the total distance you have to cover from point to point can pretty much cost you the match if in terms of a 5-minute domination match. So personally, I'm not a fan of adding those 3 maps because I think they're personally a little bit too big for how the format's set up. Okay, moving on though, notes. Any weapon may be picked up from players during combat, regardless of class. You are also allowed to switch weapon loadouts mid-match, but you must maintain the legal gear requirements for that class. For example, Recon class may not change the loadout to M4X if they have an equipped EMP, Digi, machine pistol, blah blah blah. Heroes and infrared scopes are prohibited, blah blah blah. So, basically, kind of the issue, or something that was kind of discussed, was should we let players pick up other players' weapons, and should we restrict the total class count format? And that's basically all that's being addressed with these with the text that I just read out loud. So for server options, everything's pretty much the same in terms of the older BCL rule set. I think the only change I really see is the 125% stamina multiplier, so you can actually run longer distances for a longer amount of time as a result. Now moving on to classes. Basically the way the classes are formatted, you have of course 5 players per team, 2 assault, 2 CQC class, and 1 recon class per team. The assault class, you can pretty much choose between the burst fire rifle, the heavy assault rifle, the LMG recon, and the bullpup full auto. And then for secondary, you have light pistol, heavy pistol, or burst fire pistol that you can choose from. And then for your tactical item, you have the revival injector. And then for your gear items, you have the toxic and the digi grenades. So pretty much the AR and the AK-470 are completely banned out of this rule set. And with that in mind, those are two of the most OP weapons of Blacklight. So just having those two weapons removed from the actual weapon rotation that you can choose from, it pretty much hopes to balance out the rest of the remaining weapons available and at least keep it somewhat competitive and at least give you an option to kind of have a distributed balance of weapons available in the match. So for CQC class, you can choose from M4X, SMG, Burstfire SMG, and Tactical SMG. And you have your same choices for secondaries, light pistol, heavy pistol, or burstfire pistol. Health injector for your tactical gear item. And then the frag and the digi for your gear items. So, self-explanatory, close quarter combat, you have an assortment of close type weapons available for you. I would say probably M4X is the strongest out of the four. But depending on the map, like, you wouldn't want to use a Burstfire SMG in something like Containment, but I think Burstfire SMG would be good for, like, Vertigo, honestly. And then the last class you have available is the Recon class, which has the bolt-action rifle, combat rifle, anti-material rifle, or the M4X. And then if you use the M4X, you cannot use the machine pistol as a secondary or the Gear 2 items. And we'll kind of elaborate on that right now. So secondary, you have light pistol, heavy pistol, burstfire pistol, or machine pistol as choices. And I'm thinking with the machine pistol and not the M4X as combined items is the fact that with the bar, the combat rifle, and the AMR, you're kind of screwed in close quarter combat. So they give you the option to use the machine pistol with those weapons just to give you something else to kind of fall back to for a close quarter type of an option. And of course, the M4X doesn't really need that. Tactical gear item is the Mark II cloak, Gear 1 frag, and Gear 2 digi, EMP, or the HRV blackout. And of course, M4X with the HRV blackout especially is probably not a balanced decision. So personally, I wouldn't even put the blackout in there, but they're trying to make the pretty much the sniper based weapons or the long range based weapons more viable for combat. So they're kind of trying to balance it out and give an incentive for running a long range based weapon. But that's pretty much it for my commentary about this rule set. There's a couple things I would change. Like I said, I'm not a fan of the bigger maps, and I'm not really a fan of the 5-minute matches because I think ultimately with the domination mode as your primary choice for competitive matches, it might work out for something like SMD, a 5-minute based round, but domination, there's a lot more that goes into it, and it's more of a momentum based round by round game type. So just having that back and forth with something like domination, I think you need a lot more time to really have play out and develop. And not really, like I said, not really digging the 5-minute thing. But that's my thoughts about the whole thing. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. And thanks for watching as always, guys. Much appreciated.